Alrighty, folks, it is time for Grand Prix Neo Stehlia's semifinals, and would you believe it, we are not done with the Iviana mirrors just yet. There is one final mirror match we have to go through before we can make it to the finals here, but we are going to be starting this one guaranteed on the play. And we did at least get to skip quarterfinals to get into this match. So one less match to have to brawl through, small price to pay to have to fight through one last mirror match before making it to the finals here. And we may not make it to the finals, but certainly I have a pretty good record against this matchup so far. So let's see if that holds or if that trend gets broken. So before we dive into our opponent's deck, though it will be a short deck coverage this time around. As always, if you're interested in checking out the format for yourself, links are in the description below, as always, to all of your key resources for all things Revolution Custom Standard. That is going to be all of the different card recommendation websites, the compendium, both of the card galleries between LackeyBot and Escape from Limbo. There's also the tournament bracket down in the description, and most importantly, the Custom Magic Discord server where you can check out the Revolution channels, play the format for yourself, and follow along with all of the other cool projects people in the community are working on. So yeah, we are up against Caillou 102 once again for a rematch of round two. Now, Caillou was, of course, the originator of this particular build of this deck. Won last month with Jeskai Dragon Control. Granted, it was a build using battles on top of everything else, but we are the only player to have dealt Caillou a loss so far. So we've had this matchup before, but Caillou has fought his way back up into top cut, has fought through his quarterfinals match, and here he is squaring off against us now. Hungry, I think, for a rematch. So as before, if you're interested in a little more nuanced of a discussion, I believe I gave a slightly more detailed discussion of the matchup at the starts of rounds 1 and 2, especially round 2 because that is my previous match with Caillou. But once again, it is a nearly identical main deck and sideboard. It is an identical 75 overall, same quantities of every single card. The only differences here are that he has one terminal impact in the main rather than the full play set. The remaining 3 are off in the sideboard. And otherwise, he has the 3 copies of Thistral Charm that we have in the sideboard already present in the main deck for this particular build that he is on. So we're not going to have access to these Thistral Charms in game 1, but we will have access to multiple copies of Terminal Impact, unlike him. So, without further ado, let's get into that semifinals match. Alrighty. Guaranteed play here. We got 4 lands, a Seafloor Treasures, a Fateful Ascent, and an Iviana. That looks like a keep to me. Lands and spells. We lead on Misty Peak into Plains, Seafloor Treasures on turn 2, and rocket from there. I think I'd rather do Misty Peak than Lucent Basin on 2. I could Lucent Basin on 2, actually. I think I want to Misty Peak on 2, if only because I want a Lucent Basin. I want to develop second blue, but I also want to be developing second white early. And when Beaten Stone's only contributing second white, but not second blue, means that I don't want to be playing this. I guess, there's no real impact between playing one of these first versus third. There's no red spells I'm really holding up on like the first couple turns. I wonder what the correct answer is. I think given given the fact that I would rather be developing white and blue sources in most cases, I'd rather develop the early incidental red source while I can. Opponent keeps 6. And we're ready to roll. So opponent is going to be down a card here early on. We're going to go Misty Peak here. Again, would rather just develop the incidental red source early here and then prioritize the red and blue mana moving forward. Opponent cracking a Silent Lakefront here. That's going to go get them a basic, and that is one Silent Lakefront down. So one less for us to worry about. We will draw a 3 become 1. Let's go ahead and play our Plains and pass. Now, the difference maker here between our deck and the opponent's deck is that blue-red is something worth holding up on the first couple turns with Thistral Charm, which they are holding up. That is something we could not hold up on the early turn here. But we can go for Seafloor Treasure at least. Are we going to get countered? Ah, no. Opponent's going to go for Seafloor Treasures first. All right. Sneaking this in through interaction. I'll be real. The more I have played this matchup, the more I have felt that interacting with Seafloor Treasures is not worth my while. So we're going to go ahead and look at the top two. Fateful Ascent number 2 versus Terminal Impact. We're going to go ahead and bin the Fateful Ascent, grab the Terminal Impact. We've already gotten Ascent here. Let's go ahead and pop out both graveyards because they are going to start filling up here. So we untap. We draw Misty Peak number 2. Do you think I'd rather play Lucent Basin here? And we'll pass. That is our 5th land, so we will be able to start threatening 3 become 1 or Iviana. But on these early turns, there's really not a whole lot to be threatening with. That is a shocked in Misty Peak here. Interesting. Shocking in Misty Peak, no play. So for us to not go for anything on our next turn means we have cost them 2 life for nothing. And they're missing a white source, having been to Windbeaten Stones. So we draw Silent Lakefront here. That is pretty good. Let's go ahead and develop the Misty Peak here. I think I do want to develop more blue sources early. And yeah, we'll just pass. If they have another Seafloor Treasures, they have another Seafloor Treasures. It looks like they do. We'll say K to that. I am going to rearrange my lands a little bit while they do that. They've been a Deafening Clarion. It's a pretty good pretty good thing to bin here for them, rather. Not necessarily a miss, but yeah. Not a card that's very relevant in this matchup, so getting rid of it with Seafloor Treasures is a pretty nice opportunity. Really, the most value that Clarion has is, you know, free cast off of 3 become 1 in response to a bunch of Phoenixes. Okay, Windbeaten Stones tapped for the opponent, and they pass. We untap, we draw Deafening Clarion of our own. So now we do have a real contentious point to make here, which is, do we go for the greedy line of leaving up 3 become 1 with the Windbeaten Stones, or do we try and see if we can skirt another turn without tapping out? I think I'd like to go for the 3 become 1 on their turn. I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shock into Windbeaten Stones. No. So what I was going to say was I can shock in Windbeaten Stones and act on their upkeep, so that way it requires them to react in response. But no, that does pave the way for them to just resolve an Iviana, so that's not worthwhile. I am going to shock in the Windbeaten Stones, though. And we are going to pass. The stare down begins. We do have interaction available. Silent Lakefront is now online. We've got double white, double blue. Sorry, we got 3 blue sources, 3 white sources available, and 3 red. Evenly split. Opponent shocks in another Windbeaten Stones, so we are still ahead on life now. They pass. So if 3 become 1 gets interacted with, the danger here is that it does not eat all of their interaction. No, but... oh no. Because they have Thistral Charm available to them, this does not... Like, them having to... Yeah, say they pay, like, 1 in a blue... Clarifying that I'm thinking. Say that they, you know, pay 1 in a blue, go for Overrule Will. here countering Iviana. That does not put them down on how many counter spells they could have. Sorry, on 3 become 1. That does not put them down how many counter spells they could have available in the face of Iviana the following turn, because they have access to Thistral Charm, also capable of countering Iviana. So I do think we have to just kind of pass here. Yep, not going to pull the trigger yet. We untap, we draw another Iviana. Well, now I kind of wish I had gone for it, if only because we've got the duplicates, but wouldn't have known that this was going to be on top. New question, do we play the Silent Lakefront? The nice thing of playing Silent Lakefront is it tells the opponent, hey, we have interaction to spare, so we don't need to hold this up. That's not actually truly the case, but we can psych our opponent out into thinking it's the case. Yeah, missing land drops is too important. Making land drops is too important. We're going to go ahead and play the Silent Lakefront. Let's go get a basic island here. We'll put that into play tapped and pass. And I'm going to go ahead and scoot this down over. Just get the gradient going. Opponent passes through our end step. We did kind of tilt our hand there a bit by clarifying that we were thinking on the end step, so they know that we've got something we might have been looking to do. They go ahead and play a Rousing Path tapped. And pass back. Yep. We untap. We draw Seafloor Treasures. So we miss a land drop here. I am tempted to Seafloor Treasures here at main phase, just try and hit the land drop. But the problem is, if we miss on the land drop, we have nothing up to interact with the opponent. So we are just going to kind of hold. Opponent untaps. We have missed our first land drop. So they know we don't have more lands available, or at least we're holding up a Silent Lakefront if we have any lands available. See if they hit their 7th before we do. They have gone deeper in their deck. The second Seafloor Treasures has helped out there. What you got? They're thinking. They might be looking to pull the trigger on something. If they go for Damon here, that is going to be pretty rough. Because Damon is pretty much the hardest thing for me to properly check. Wonder if they'll go for it. They're thinking. They are thinking. It seems like there is something they're looking to take action on. They're debating if this is the moment to pounce. And certainly there are appeals to doing so. You have seen I have missed a land drop, so my mana development has stumbled a bit. My ability to fight the stack might not be as strong now as it could be later, and you don't know what I'm holding, but you see I have 7 cards, and the reality is I've got a whole 0 pieces of stack interaction available to myself right now. I've only seen 1, and I had to make it as a land drop. And I'd rather have the 6th land than be holding up Silent Lakefront, but it does not mean that I am loving the position I'm in. So I am interested to see where this turn goes. The downside with trying to hold up, for instance, a Seafloor Treasures for interaction here, if they go for something like Phoenix, is if I go Seafloor Treasures, try and find like stack interaction, I might have to put a land into the bin that I don't want to get rid of right now. But if they tap out for something 5 mana something 5 mana here, which specifically if they tap out for Iviana, I will happily pull the trigger on a 3 become 1 here. They're in a tight spot. They're thinking about it. They're thinking about the bind. If it does end up being Phoenix, I kind of don't mind just using Fateful Ascent on the Overflow token rather than the Phoenix, and then just picking off the Phoenix with Deafening Clarion. It's not a great use of Clarion, but Clarion's not great in this matchup, so I don't hate it. I don't love them taking me to 15 and going to 19, but it's not the worst thing in the world. They go ahead and play Windbeaten Stones number 3 and pass. All right. Let's see Floor Treasures, see what you got. Any responses? Any thoughts here? If they were thinking about 3 become 1, this might be their window because I can't stop it. But they say K. Top cards. Windbeaten Stones overrule Will. So we get a nice double-edged sword here of if we bin overrule Will, that kind of signals to the opponent that perhaps we really already have the interaction we need in hand. Actually, yeah, that is great if we bin this. This was only going to be really relevant if they tapped out for Iviana this turn. So, yeah, I would much rather make my land drop next turn. Bin the Overrule Will, put Windbeaten Stones in hand, and now the opponent's got to be sitting there thinking, holy shit, they definitely have counter magic in hand. We got nothing. But binning a counter spell here. I think if it were a different counter spell, that would send a much clearer signal. Overrule Will, definitely the weakest of the counter spells in this matchup, definitely at this point in the game. Third Seafloor Treasures is a great sign here. Now that's got me thinking I want to shock in this Windbeaten Stones. Because if I shock in Windbeaten Stones, Seafloor Treasures number 3 opens up the door for Surface a Seafloor Treasures, while still having 2 mana up. Interesting. Do I want to go to 16 here? They're at 7 mana. Yeah, I want to go the untapped land because that also just lets me have 3 become 1 up alongside Seafloor Treasures. I think that's worthwhile. We're going to go ahead and go to 16. Ship on over. See if the opponent wants to do anything. They do not. We have more blue mana available than them, which is also very nice right now. The blue mana pinching is pretty tangible. Windbeaten Stones, not a bad land by any measure, but not being able to tap and spend Windbeaten Stones for a lot of your counter magic does not help. And so just like that, we are feeling a little more comfortable. We hit our 7th land. We have Seafloor Treasures available here. We can go for treasures, 1 from hand, 1 from graveyard. Put ourselves up to 8 cards in hand, untap, draw to 9. Just get to discard the Clarion to hand size, potentially. Or we can draw a Phoenix and try and start making some moves. Let's see what the opponent has to say about where we're at. 7 mana available means they could go for Phoenix with Draconos Magistus backup. Question is, do they fight over interaction on the Phoenix? Really is the question of the moment. If they even have the Phoenix. They could also be in the same boat as us, just not really holding much in the way of interaction. They pass. They also miss a land drop now, so we've both missed 1 land drop. You gonna fight? They say K. Top 2. Silent Lakefront Overrule Will. I do think I will bin the Silent Lakefront here, take the Overrule Will. Do I? Hitting 8 lands. What is 8 lands get me? It lets me, if I like find a Draconis Magistus, 8 lands lets me Iviana with Magistus backup. Though right now I don't have the Magistus anyways, and if I were to top deck it, I don't have Magistus next turn anyhow. Binning the lakefront, the second lakefront, means that I don't have that available to me. But Overrule Will is just such an awkward card here. I think I'm going to bin the Overrule Will, take the lakefront, and I'm not going to surface Seafloor Treasures here. I'm just going to untap because the opponent fighting over, or like if we tap out for Seafloor Treasures, this gives the opponent a window to capitalize on us tapping out. If the opponent goes for 3 become 1 in response to us surfacing Seafloor Treasures, do I care? Not really, actually. I think if they do spring at this moment, I'm kind of just fine with it. They say K. Top 2. Fateful Ascent Mountain. We will bin a Fateful Ascent, take a mountain. Gonna scoot my hand over off to the side. We untap, we draw Overrule Will as draw for turn. Well, we got the mountain, which means we can just clearly make our 8th land drop while still holding Silent Lakefront here. We play the mountain. The dream would be Terminal Impact for 8, pass, opponent can't do anything to gain life. We rip the second Terminal Impact off the top. That's not reliable. So we're just going to pass here, discard Clarion to hand size. See if they want to spring at our end step. They are tapping 1-2. Did they find the 3rd Seafloor Treasures as well? Looks like it might be. It sure is. Both of us finding 3 Seafloor Treasures. But which one of us has had better draws overall? The nice thing here is we do have 3 become with 1 blue backup. So we could, if hypothetically, if we had Draconis Magistus available, we have that available as well. They've been an offset Daemon. Very interesting. Okay. That makes a pretty profound statement. Someone's either not looking to use these right now or has one in hand. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have 8 mana as well. They found an island. We've been signaling that we have counter magic with some of our bins off of Seafloor Treasures. They have signaled to us that they might have an offset Daemon available, but they're also passing. I mean, yeah. Let's take that opportunity. Surface Seafloor Treasures. They did not surface, by the way. Three become 1 offset Daemon. I think we can bin 3 become 1 just on the basis of us having a full grip. Daemon in hand. Also, I'm going to nudge my lands over a little bit, maintain that gradient. Do I pull the trigger on the last Seafloor Treasures here? Or do I pull the trigger on 3 become 1? If they fight over this, that's less mana they have available to fight over whatever I do next turn. Yeah, I think I'd like to initiate a fight over 3 become 1. Not even much of a fight. This is me just tapping out for 3 become 1 here. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. They're going to 3 become 1 in response, aren't they? Yeah. So because of that end step, any cards they still have in hand, I do believe they have to discard to hand size. So they're going to overrule Will here. Who are they going to target? They're going to target themselves, binning Offset Daemon, Lucent Basin, Lucent Basin. Unfortunate that they bin 2 blue sources. But yeah. Second Offset Daemon being milled is very interesting because it means that they're one more Offset Daemon. That means they have one fewer Offset Daemon we have to fight through. And yeah, I do believe they have to discard to hand size here because they pulled the trigger on 3 become 1 on their end step, which is another reason why I was going for it. Because, like, there's really nothing I was looking to cast off of 3 become 1. It was kind of just looking to start a fight. And I got what I was looking for. Overrule Will expended. They bin a Clash at Orith Cross. That makes sense, I think. That's a pretty reasonable thing to bin. All right, we're going to untap. Draw Untapped Island. Oh, very interesting. I think we play Island Untapped. We're going to go for Offset Daemon here. And if they have a Draconis Magistus, we can slam an Iviana here, get a Sulio. They're thinking. Gonna get the create a token window ready here. So if they counter it, we can close the create a token window. If they do not, then I think I put Daemon on C. Overflow on C, I just feel like is the responsible choice here. All right. They are going for Draconis Magistus here. Path of Prudence. Daemon down. Now, the question is, do we take this opportunity to Iviana? I do believe we do. Iviana Dragon Tamer. Two counters on Iviana. Look at her sideboard. Let's grab Sulio the Watchful Star. Pass on over. So now if they go for an Offset Daemon, they're clear to do so. They can swing at Iviana, kill Iviana. I'm fine with that. I will not burn the treasures to Fateful Ascent the Phoenix. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Daemon costs them half of their mana. They would not be able to hold up Silent Lakefront without an untapped land here. Very tricky spot to be in. I definitely don't love tapping out of all of my permanent mana sources, but I do think not going for the Iviana here is the wrong call. If I wasn't going to go for Iviana in the case of Offset Daemon failing, I don't think I would have played Offset Daemon. I would have just passed to end step and been fine, because having land drop this turn meant that I was at 7 cards in hand. I played Iviana, I played Daemon, that put me down to 5. Iviana downtick put me back to 6. So yeah, if I wasn't going to follow up Offset Daemon with something in the event of Daemon getting countered, then I just don't play the Daemon there. But they were tapped out of 5 of their 8 mana. That was the opportunity to kind of try to pounce if I could. And definitely being the first one to stick an Iviana is a good feeling here. Especially because if they want to stick an Iviana of their own here, they could. It's going to cost them all 8 of their mana, or at least 7 mana, because they'd have to Iviana plus have another Draconis Magistus available, because I will Asulio an Iviana here. But they're going to go for Offset Daemon instead. That's going to put Overflow on program A, I assume. So I did call it. They were looking to offset Daemon the Iviana here. Exactly what I was hoping they might be looking to do. Do they have a second? Oh, they do have a second offset Daemon here. Oh, lordy. Kind of wishing I hadn't pitched that Deafening Clarion earlier. I am going to burn my treasures here and overrule will this. Mill them. Especially now that I know that the last offset Daemon is gone. We mill an Overrule Will, an Iviana Dragon Tamer, and a Thistral Charm. Yeah, happy to see Iviana gone. Happy to see this being the last offset Daemon as well. I think this is going to be coming at Iviana here. Yup. They go to 19. Iviana is down. But this is their last offset Daemon. So when we pop this Overflow with the Fateful Ascent, they are all in on offset Daemon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana sources. No basics out of the deck, so they do still have an island and 2 planes to go find with Primal Fisher, unless one of those is in their hand. I don't imagine they are, but certainly could be. We untap, we draw a Stargazing. Hello. So if we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stargazing puts us where exactly? Man, this is tricky. I think there's no reason to Stargazing right this moment, because I'm looking at 5 mana total to Terminal Impact to the Offset Daemon and Fateful Ascent their Overflow token. That completely neutralizes this as a threat. If I had a different answer to Terminal Impact, I'd certainly... different answer rather than Terminal Impact for the Offset Daemon, I'd certainly rather do that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... I don't love burning the Silent Lakefront as a land drop here, but I might do so. Do I go find the 3rd island? I think I find the 3rd island before I find the 2nd plains. They've only been 1 Silent Lakefront, so they're probably holding one here. Yeah, I think as much as I want to capitalize on them being tapped out here, going for Iviana feels like the incorrect call. Like, I'm not getting Draconis Magistus here. I'm not getting Eltanon or Garation here. I have 4 mana after I Fateful Ascent, Terminal Impact. I'm definitely Fateful Ascenting. I'm probably Terminal Impacting. think we're just going to Terminal Impact the Daemon. Get the overflow out of here. Both down to 4 cards in hand. This Silent Lakefront puts me down to 3. I think I am going to go for Stargazing here because I can still represent Draconos Magistus here off of Stargazing. And I can also still have the last Seafloor Treasures available for my graveyard. Top 1 card is a Wind-Beaten Stones. If I take that, I get to play this tapped, still be representing Draconos Magistus, hold the Silent Lakefront so I don't have to worry about making my 10th land drop for the turn costing them the Lakefront. Is that worth it? That's tough. I think that might be worth it. I certainly would rather look for the Magistus, but I'd rather psych my opponent out into thinking I have the Magistus. I'm going to take it, bin the Stargazing, Wind-Beaten Stones tapped, and pass. Draw last, the old classic. And of course, I say look for the Draconos Magistus, but Sulio here does cover most of our bases. Obviously, if they have an uncounterable spell to back up whatever they go for, that's something we can't really fight over, but Sulio can at least try. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They chose not to fetch here, so they're digging for their 10th mana. 10th mana would represent Iviana plus Silent Lakefront, which is really tough to beat, for sure. But I think the threat of Draconos Magistus here is just a little too high. I don't think you ever pull the trigger on something when you're concerned about Magistus. And certainly, you have seen no copies of Magistus from me, and I am just about halfway through my deck. And the fun part is, if I just pull the trigger on Seafloor Treasures at end step, yeah, they could have a second 3 become 1. That would put them in a very nice spot, certainly. They do have the 10th land drop. That's 4 mana. Okay, they are going to pull the trigger on something here. Oh, are they just going to go for Draconos Magistus here? That's just Draconos Magistus. Tap the mana here for a brief second. Surface Seafloor Treasures. Let's close the graveyard for now. They say K. Top 2. Terminal Impact Wind-Beaten Stones. I will take the Timpact here. Stones to bin, Timpact to hand. We untap. We draw another Terminal Impact. So the scary thing is, they could just have Terminal Impact themselves here. If we go for Terminal Impact for 10 to them, what stops them from just cracking back with it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The thing I really desperately want to do here is Iviana downtick, grab Guration, play Guration, free cast Asulio, shoot Magistus, swing 16. I really desperately want to go for that. Unfortunately, that is a plan that gets got by a lot of different things. Nothing hard counters it, but anything interrupting that play pattern makes it a lot more likely that Magistus connects to my face and a Terminal Impact kills me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 mana here. If they make a land drop, that's 11. So 11 damage plus Magistus is 17. If they do anything to disrupt Iviana, I could hold up Silent Lakefront. Man, they haven't used a single Seafloor Treasures from Graveyard, too. This is crazy. Let's go for Iviana. They're thinking. Yep. Iviana sticks. New problem arises. If I wish for Duration and pull the trigger on it now, they could just counter Duration. And if they counter Duration, a Terminal Impact really screws me here. Granted, I am being wary of the Terminal Impact. It is a one of. Now, they have seen more than half of their deck. The odds are not impossible that they have their Terminal Impact here. I could take the cautious line of just grabbing Draconis Magistus here. They've seen 4 cards. They'll see a 5th next turn. Sorry, they could crack chart, go... No, sorry, if they counter, they will not see a 5th here. They will not be able to crack the chart, so they won't be able to guarantee the land drop. Do I pull the trigger on Duration? I think it's Duration one way or another. It then just becomes a question of, do I chance them having the 3rd Overrule Will? Because Overrule Will is the only thing that fights Duration right now. They could... no, they can't counter... They can't remove Duration or Asulio. So if I get Duration and Asulio in play, the most they can do is remove Iviana here. We get Duration. So, if I don't pull the trigger here, and they do have... If I don't pull the trigger, they do have Terminal Impact here. They take me to 10. They Terminal Impact, pushing a bunch of damage. Impact cannot hit Planeswalkers, so that would be them yielding Iviana. We go to either 3 or 2, depending. We untap with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana, plus 2 treasures. That's 7 of 12 for Duration, plus 5 for Terminal Impact. There was a world where we just Terminal Impact Draconis Magistus here. But I do not like that world. So there is a defined line where we lose here, which is 3rd Overrule Will, counter Duration, and then hit us with Draconis Magistus, have the Terminal Impact in hand for 10. If they don't, we take them to 3. They do not have an offset daemon. They have 10 mana, potentially 11. Going for Iviana doesn't matter at that point. If they have an Iviana, it will not change anything. So that tees us up for the nigh guaranteed win. The only thing that stops us is Overrule Will. Because I feel like the opponent would have gone for Fateful Ascent on Iviana in response to the down tick. If they have it now, certainly they could remove Iviana in response to the down tick, but then we get Garation into Asulio. The alternative here is that they could have Clash at Orith Cross, number 2, to remove our big dragons on top of the removal for Iviana. But even then, that means that we're not dead. I think we can try and find a line to play it safe, but I think we just need to try and wrap things up if we can. Show me the third Overrule Will. If you have it, you have it. 27 cards left in deck. They say K. Enter trigger. Garation deals 10 damage to Draconis Magistus. Asulio is going to wish for 2 non-creature cards from outside the game. They say 1 sec. Cast a dragon spell or a spell with mana value 6 or less. Certainly, I do think the Silent Lake front line was the safer play. But that's one where I don't have interaction for them countering something anyways. And ultimately, this is a hypothetical, like, kill next turn if they have removal for... If they, like, don't go for removing Iviana. If they do go for removing Iviana, we do not have the kill. Or we do not have the setup for the kill next turn. Because Iviana giving haste is really critical here. It is possible that they're doing the math here for a reverse kill with Iviana. But the reality here is them going for Iviana down tick. They make 2 treasures. They have 7 or 8 mana. They could play a Draconis Magistus or a Garation Stormlord. Neither of those... Oh no, it does kill us if they have another Draconis Magistus in hand. That could actually be really devastating. In response to Garation ETB, okay. Ward trigger. Pay the 2. Iviana gives ward. I think we got him. So Garation deals 10. Asulio wishes for 2 non-creature spells from sideboard. I think we get... What the hell do we even get? I think we get Thistral Charm, Deafening Clarion. Syscall does not matter here. All right. There is no kill anymore. Also, for some reason, I was thinking through the kill line of them like having 18 damage with Draconis Magistus, Iviana Garation, drop a second Magistus or a like. Yeah. We swing the 16, main 2, pass. Whew. I do not see how they come back from this. Them forgetting the ward here there was monumental. Certainly, like, we're still in a pretty position if they have interaction for... If they point that removal spell at Iviana, we're not in a great spot, but we're not in an awful spot if they remove Iviana. We're in a much better spot in a world where where they can't deal with Iviana. Or where they choose to not deal with Iviana, where they choose to remove Garation instead. I will say, there was a moment where I was thinking about, do I flag a judge for having cast Asulio off of Garation Okay, yeah. I did not give them a window to respond to the Gratian ETB, so I don't know if I would really have wanted to call for a judge there. They're looking at their sideboard, thinking about what they could have, what they could want for next game, perhaps. It's possible they're looking at what they could get off of their own Iviana here. Because we are tapped out. They cycle a Rousing Path to start their turn. Not a great sign. No offset Daemons means that the most they could try and hope to find is a Clash at Orith Cross. And let me tell you, that's not going to matter. But if you don't have the Clash at Orith Cross, I can just kill you with what's on board. I don't need to pull a trigger on these. I think we got it game one. That was a tough game one. Some very interesting windows on when to fire off on things versus when to just stay my hand. Some very timely fights that kind of went my favor even when they looked like they went my opponent's favor. The one that comes to mind is that 3 become 1. They pay 3. Seafloor Treasure's finally coming out here. Well, this is the enough mana for them to cast Clash at Orith Cross. They've been a Primal Fisher. Put a card into hand. Is this the second Clash at Orith Cross? We got game one. Alrighty. One game between us and the finals. I think we know exactly how we want to sideboard this. It is Syscalls, it is Looming Psyhawks, and it is Thistral Charms. We're going down the Clash at Orith Crosses, we are going down the Deafening Clarions, and we are going to scattershot out 1 Overrule Will, 1 Seafloor Treasures, and 1 other spell. I think it might be Terminal Impact, just on the basis that this means that Asulio can wish for Terminal Impact and scare the life out of the opponent. Certainly would rather have the higher density of Terminal Impact for more meaningful presence on board, but ultimately this being sorcery speed is a real liability versus Fateful Ascent. Certainly I don't love giving the opponent a chart token to get more land drops, but this picks off every relevant threat in this matchup. It picks off Iviana, this picks off Draconos Magistus, picks off Offset Daemon, and the Overflow token in specific, very relevant there. I like putting the 1 Terminal Impact in sideboard for niche cases of finding it with Asulio. Let's rock it. Game 2, we're going to be on the draw here. Two-lander Stargazing, Thistral Charm, Double Magistus, Offset Daemon. Well, if there was ever a two-lander that was going to really tempt me, this is more tempting than just about any two-lander I saw in our previous match. And I kept some silly hands in our last matchup. I'm going to keep this because Stargazing is a powerful card. Silent Lakefront on 1. They find an island. We will draw for first turn. Misty Peak is a nice draw here. Let's Stargaze. Fateful Ascent, I think I will put to the bottom early on here. And then we'll draw another Misty Peak. That's interesting. I don't love pitching a land here just because I do want to hit extra land drops. I think we'll pitch an Offset Daemon. Yeah, we'll pitch an Offset Daemon. Get back to Stargazing. This means that future Offset Daemons are live to go onto Program A. barring them boarding in specifically the Graveyard Hate. They'd play Wind-Beaten Stones untapped here. We untap, we draw. A Rousing Path is a great draw here. Happy to play that. And we're just going to hold on to Stargazing because we are officially in early turn interaction. They do not have a Seafloor Treasures for us. They play Island and pass. We will untap and draw. We do find a Seafloor Treasures. So now we can choose between shocking in a land untapped, playing Stargazing, or holding up Draconos Magistus. Stargazing lets us hold up Thistral Charm or Seafloor Treasures. Do we go to 18 here? I think we are going to take one more turn of safety, and I'm going to say we're going to play Wind-Beaten Stones tapped. We'll go for Seafloor Treasures on their end step anyways. If they want to fight over it, they fight over it, and I'm content to let that happen. But now I think I'm in a place where I'm a little more comfortable pitching a land to Stargazing. I may even just not pick up the Stargazing. Like, my hand, not a ton of action, but certainly not a bad hand by any measure. Wind-Beaten Stones tapped and pass. Seafloor Treasures. They say K. Top 2. Looming Psyhawk Misty Peak. We will bin the peak, get the hawk. Whoops. Made the mistake of double-clicking. They say, okay, flex. Not what I meant to do. A little bit of nerves. Silent Lakefront is the draw here. That puts me in a little bit of a bind, if only because I would really rather find our second white source, and we have only found the one Wind-Beaten Stones right now. So that begs the question, do we shock in something to hold up Draconos Magistus or Psyhawk alongside going for Stargazing here? I am going to shock in the Misty Peak here. Let's go for Stargazing. Shocking in the Misty Peak first, because I'd rather represent 3 mana now rather than later. This does mean that if I find an untapped white source, I'm more likely to have to pay 2 life to get it untapped next turn. But I think that's fine. They're thinking. Unfortunately, we have revealed to them that we have a Looming Psyhawk. That was purely interface error on our part. But not the worst thing in the world. Not a surprising thing to see that we've boarded in, honestly. And these are certainly things that pressure Thistral Charm a little bit more, because this is something that really wants to be picking off Ivianas on the stack, and especially post-board. Wow, they're going to Draconos Magistus Stargazing. Fine by me. That is A-okay. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and pass turn here. I'm not even going to try and slip in a Looming Psyhawk here, because quite frankly, if they fight over Psyhawk next turn, I'm cool for that as well. But yeah, Magistus on Stargazing. That is some respect for this card right there. Very well-earned respect, frankly, as well. Like, this is a very, very good card. I've said it a couple times before in the run, but having access to an opt that you can just transform one of the other cards in your hand into opt as well for, it's pretty real. So we do have the option to hat trick hit him back with the Draconos Magistus countering Stargazing here. That is tempting. But that does mean that they could play untapped land Phoenix, and that's a really bad spot for us to be in. But again, Stargazing is a lot of sculpting. They put one card to bottom, draw another, and they've dug 2 cards deep, turned another card in their hand into a Stargazing for next turn. I think without the momentum available to us, I am fine just having them go for a Phoenix. It's not amazing, but... Actually, no, it is really bad if they get a Phoenix into play here. I think we're going to say K. Don't love it, but we got to let Stargazing through. It does have diminishing returns eventually. Eventually, you do just kind of want to use it as opt at sorcery speed. Because if everything in your hand is good, why are you discarding something to it? They do put card from top to bottom, and they've been a Fateful Ascent. So that is an answer to Looming Psyhawk gone here. We'll flash in Psyhawk at their end step. They miss a land. They say K. They're not telling me they want to remove it on board, so we'll go ahead and draw an Offset Daemon. Hello. I mean, yeah, let's rumble in. Main 2. I am thinking about Silent Lakefront here. I do want to find that second white source. But yeah, I think I do just have to go find that second white source. Want to hold the lakefront if at all possible, but in this instance, I do just need to prioritize mana development. And certainly, as they're missing land drops, I'd rather not. They have 2 mana here. They do have another Fateful Ascent. So they're going to Fateful Ascent here. That's fine. Psyhawk has done some of its job. It has eaten a removal spell. Certainly better to shut off an Offset Daemon trigger, but now we can chart token, dig for another land drop. And we can do that through using Thistral Charm, potentially. So Thistral Charm, counter a spell, chart token, go find another land. And or chart could go find us a land for us to develop Offset Daemon plus leave up Thistral Charm. Very, very tight spot to be in. Them missing land drops does not help them by any means. They're going to Stargazing here, it looks like. Oh, well, they're looking at the top. I think I was going to let this through. They're tight on mana right now, which means Stargazing is a little more appealing to disrupt here now that we know they missed a land drop, but I think I'm going to say K. Okay, no issues, carry on. Interesting spot here. They certainly would want to hit their 4th land drop if at all possible. Sorry, their 5th land drop, rather. I do wonder what they are boarding in here, because we know what we're boarding, but despite this being a mirror match, I don't know what their board looks like. I don't know how they board this matchup. I got the insight on why they arranged their 75 the way they did compared to ours. They've been a Sis call. I think that's correct given the mana issues here. They do hit the land drop, which makes me think they had to bin the Sis call for the land drop. Yeah. Let's go ahead and crack the chart. Top of library, top cards on stack until type land. We dig past Terminal Impact 3, become 1 to find a Wind-Beaten Stones. There's our second white source. Move to bottom in a random order. We draw a Lucent Basin. No reason to play that out when we've revealed the Wind-Beaten Stones. And certainly, I would like to hold up Thistral Charm here. But I think, especially now that we have so many extra land drops, I'm not going to pull the trigger on Offset Daemon quite just yet. What's the punish if we go for Offset Daemon, actually? Like, the punish, quote-unquote, is them having, like, Draconis Magistus #2. I think that's the worst-case scenario for me. But if they have their own Looming Psyhawk, we can remove the Psyhawk in response to Offset Daemon Enter Trigger. If they have any other counter spell that's less troublesome, it's really just Path of Prudence that I care about. I think we're going to go ahead and play the Wind-Beaten Stones. Take the 2 back. Pay 1, 2, 3, 4. I am going to pull the trigger on the Offset Daemon here. If they have the second Magistus, they have the second Magistus. That's 1. Oh. Paying a white or a red. Oh, they're paying 3. Is it the Magistus? It is the Magistus. Oh, unfortunate. That does put us a 7th card in the bin for Seafloor Treasures, though. And certainly, if they try to capitalize on this moment here to go for something like Iviana, we have the Thistral Charm available. What you gonna do? They're gonna lead on a Stargazing. I think at this point I have made my bet on that. Can't see Floor Treasures right now, which is unfortunate, but we'll have available access to that next turn. Okay, they put to the bottom again and drew. Are you going to discard for Stargazing once again? Or are you content with your hand? We know that there is presumably, logically, only one more Draconis Magistus available in deck. I do not see a world where they board in Magistus and deny themselves access to it off of Iviana, because that flexible option off of Iviana is so important, I think. They have chosen to discard a Seafloor Treasures to get back the Stargazing and shocked in a Lucent Basin. Interesting. We will untap and draw Iviana Dragon Tamer. Hello, that is the action we are looking for. Let's go ahead and play a Lucent Basin tapped here, because we are ahead of them on mana. We have double Draconis Magistus available. Oh, but by playing this tapped, we don't have it up. That's fine, I think. We've got access to Seafloor Treasures. I think I'd rather Seafloor Treasures over the second Magistus. It's also so unlikely they play multiple things we need to Magistus here. And we do have access to Thistral Charm Magistus, which is very important. They're pausing here. They are not going to do anything. Makes me think they have a 3 become 1 here. They're looking at trying to squeeze a 3 become 1 in at some point. It's crazy to me that we have more white sources and red sources in play than blue sources. Oh, no, we have more blue sources. Like, even number of blue sources, red sources, and white sources, actually. But we have more red sources and red sources up. No, we don't. Yes, we do. We have more red sources up than white or blue. We have three blue, 3 white, 4 red. I don't know where the hell I was going with that. Sometimes when you're playing a control match and you got to commentate over a long game, sometimes you just kind of go on weird diatribes. Shocking in a Misty Peak. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it offset Daemon time? That feels like it's offset Daemon time. They're rethinking. I think if they go for anything here, I will pull the trigger on... No, not necessarily. If they go for Iviana, I'll attempt to Thistral Charm first. Because that is one of those cases where getting to bait out the uncounterable spell is very appealing. Because if they go Iviana here, or like if they go Iviana next turn, we would be able to Magistus it. But going for Thistral Charm first would be really nice. I would like to surface Seafloor Treasures. Do you have anything to say about that? Would you like to play your 3rd Draconos Magistus? No? That's a K from them. Let's look at the top 2. Fateful Ascent Iviana Dragon Tamer. I will bin a Fateful Ascent. Put this Dragon Tamer into hand by dragging very intentionally. And then 1, 2, 3. Nope. So they do have 3 mana to work with here, but they cannot surface a Seafloor Treasures at the end step. They could hold up 2 mana and go for Stargazing here. The fact that they don't tells me they might have the 3rd Magistus. It's very interesting. We will untap and draw. We find a Sis Call here. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8th land drop means we could hold up Magistus alongside Iviana. So going on a journey real quick, we shock in Misty Peak, we cast Iviana, we downtick. What are we getting? I think we get Goration. Because what we're gunning for there is we're gunning for, like, Goration just insta-kill. But if they fight over Iviana, what do I do? Because I can't really fight Magistus with Magistus if they have the 3rd one. That's 3 cards out of 45 in their hand. One of them we know is a Stargazing as well. So 2 cards out of 44, potentially the 3rd and final Draconos Magistus. The question is, do we want to invest our 2nd Magistus on Iviana if it's anything other than Magistus? Because Thistral Charm can't fight that on the stack. I think I am willing to go to 16 here. What 3 mana are we leaving up? I think it's going to be Lucent Basin, Rousing Path, Misty Peak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Iviana. If it's the 3rd Magistus, it's the 3rd Magistus. Otherwise, they say K. Set counters for 2. Let's go ahead and slide the adventure over here. Is that going to be Looming Psyhawk? I'm going to say K holding priority before Iviana trigger resolves. Before Iviana AA resolves. I'll kill Psyhawk. Yeah. So now we go ahead and make the 2 treasures. Sideboard open. I mean, we could just grab Draconis Magistus here. Or a Sulio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, getting Goration scares the bejesus out of them. Like, that's the reality here. We show Goration, and the opponent has to get scared. They have one non-stargazing card in their hand. I think we just put the writing on the wall here. That might leave them thinking we have no interaction as well. And getting to use Thistral Charm there means we don't show the Draconis Magistus, which means we do still have Goration lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will not fight an interactive spell on Iviana here. Do I fight them going for... I don't think I fight Stargazing. There's very little I do fight, actually. Five mana. 3 become 1. Interesting. What could they have alongside that? They've got 2 more copies of Fateful Ascent, potentially. They might have boarded one out. I mean, we know they have Stargazing and one other piece of one other tool available to them. I think I'm gonna fight on that. Show I had the Magistus in hand the whole time. Is your last card in hand something that removes Iviana? Lucent Basin tapped. They have Stargazing. Oh, sorry, they're tapping Lucent Basin for Stargazing. What can 1 mana get you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have not made a land drop this turn. So they could have land drop. Scry to the bottom. Draw 1. Now, granted, Goration does not kill here anymore. But we could Iviana downtick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Iviana downtick buys us another Draconis Magistus. They put a Lucent Basin from their hand into the graveyard, get a Primal Fisher. We are clear with Iviana. Untap, draw, find a Seafloor Treasures. I think we're going to go downtick Iviana, make 2 treasures. There might be a little confused here. Sideboard. We will go reveal Draconis Magistus. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Goration the Stormlord. I don't think there's really any interaction here, so we'll just go ahead and reveal the second Eviana. Inclined to shoot with duration. Let's go ahead and put her to 4 for now. Let's go to combat. Swing 6. Main 2. Set Eviana to 2. And now we reveal a Sulio. We revealed 2 counterspells. What you got? Because we know the one card in your hand is a Stargazing. They crack on upkeep. They need some sort of action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, unfortunately, the reality is Stargazing alone does not really help them. They could have interaction for Duration or Eviana. Even uncounterable, though. They need to remove both, but they can't. They say GG's, good luck in finals. We get there. Eviana carrying us across the finish line in a clean rematch against Caillou 102. Very well fought from Caillou in both of our matchups against them. Certainly, they know their stuff, but we had some very fortunate draws in our favor here. And I'd like to think we kind of navigated some of those pinch points pretty well in this particular series. Definitely some things that went our way beyond that, but wow, we are in for our first finals in a while. Lined up to potentially take it all. I definitely want that win. I definitely want to improve my world standings if I can. So this is my last opportunity. We know my opponent. It is going to be CFT Sock on Blue-Red Prowess. CFT Sock, a pro Magic player, certainly has some skill and some pedigree. I believe this is their first Revolution GP, and they have gone undefeated the entire run. So clearly some of that pro Magic play and experience on display here in their run. We'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about their deck going into that matchup. So I'll see you all in that finals match. And if you want to follow along the format, play it for yourself, as always, links in the description below, all the important resources. Join the Discord. Come play the format. Come see the sets that people are making, the projects people are working on. It's a ton of fun. It's a great time. It's a great community. It's wonderful people, wonderful competition, tough competition all the way through. But yeah, I'm a little stunned here that I brought a deck that I kind of was sitting in a place of, if you can't beat them, join them. And I have managed to do both and carry myself to the finals undefeated. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. This is an opportunity to grab another point for Worlds. I'm going to see if I can make that happen. So please, please, please join that Discord if you haven't already. And if you do, I'll see y'all in the Revolution chat. Wish me luck in finals.